All right, everybody. This is Dearden2007. We are currently live. I want to give a big shout out to Andrew Wilson and Brian on the Whatever podcast, and I'm about to react to Kylie Brewer's statement. Now, this is a message to Kylie Brewer. Let me just say this, with all due respect, this is simply a reaction, so don't take it personal. All right, so I do have to say, though, some of the claims she made were just off the wall and clearly not true. So we need to dive deep into it. So we're going to start with her opening her videos on TikTok that she posted after being on the Whatever podcast with Andrew Wilson. So we'll just go one by one.
That's exactly what going on this podcast felt like. It made me feel violated in so many ways, disrespected and used. In addition to them having me fly across the country and front the bill myself with the promise of paying me back, which they didn't. I made them so much money that they asked me to come back 3 times within 24 hours. And when I told them to pay me back, they sent me a threatening, abusive email. Felt not like a human being. I was harassed on the basis of being a woman, told that I was stupid, talked over, talked down to, and I was made to cry 2, 3, 4 times. I went open to the back and just sobbed. I really tried to stay to the end because I wanted to be reimbursed for all the expenses, but I couldn't. I've done debate for 9 years, so I know things could get heated. That wasn't debate, that was assault. I felt like I was sexually assaulted after the next day. I've been assaulted twice, and I woke up feeling that same sense of sadness and violation and emptiness. Yeah.
All right, well, let's start with this. She made the claim that she was digitally essayed, which is hogwash for one. Number two, she also made the claim, she only made this claim because one of her commenters made the claim that she was essayed digitally. Now, let's look at what some of her commenters said on this video. So, all right. So what did her commenters say on this video? She made the claim that so I guess we don't need to rewatch the video, but let's look at some of the comments. Her exact comment is part 3 of how I became red pill target. Check out my last 2 videos. We're going to go over those. I wanted to bring this up because this is not only the most atrocious claim she made so far, but it is also one of the most insane claims. So I want to go over some of these. Let's not, I like this comment. Let's not desensitize SA what SA is. Also, it would have been a better idea to research what those guys' podcast is. I don't agree with this last part. They're making the claim that this podcast is trash. Andrew Wilson and Brian are very respectful. Obviously, if they've ever had any major issues with guests on their show, they wouldn't have a podcast. Kylie wanted to be there. She made the claim that she was promised to front the bill. But as you will see in the video of the full reaction, near the end, here, I'll just go ahead and show you. Let's just bring it right up. I don't have the exact timeline, but I could find it. Kylie made the claim that one of her viewers offered to pay because she didn't feel comfortable to be here no more.
Take the offer that the person has given me of the original amount. I don't want to go too much into it. Okay. But I have had someone offer me, but I just don't think this is a good environment. So I think I'll just take the offer that the person has given me of.
All right, so you just saw it right there. Kylie was offered a payment from one of her viewers, one of her subscribers, to take payment in replacement of the payment that she was offered by Brian on the Whatever podcast. So by her leaving early, she's voiding her payment. So that's the problem. So I guess we don't need to get in the comments because a lot of her followers are just boo-hooing her. They're making feel sorry for herself. There was nothing wrong that went on that podcast. She was not a victim. She was clearly respected the entire time. Kylie, you are not a victim. But let's go into another one of her.
Kylie, and I've been harassed by men so severely online that I'm thinking about giving up. Misogyny has always been really bad as a feminist content creator, but especially because I talk about intersectionality, which means I'm often talking about the systems that uphold white supremacy and racism in the US, which pisses off a number of uber racist white supremacists. About 6 weeks ago, I was misled by some men, and they ended up having me on a podcast that turned out to be Red Pill. I don't want to go into the details of it because it was honestly like the most traumatic experience of my life and really horrible, and I am scared of these.
All right, let me pause it there real quick. I might have to restart it, but we all know that Kylie's experience on the Whatever podcast was by no means the most traumatic experience she's ever had in her entire life. That by far is the most intellectually dishonest and intellectually disingenuous claim to have been made. I watched quite a few of her videos, and she made the claim that she was punched by a gay guy at a concert. She was bumped into by a stranger. I mean, she has all these claims. The fact that she went on this podcast and got roasted and toasted, and Andrew cooked her in this debate, she just can't handle getting told that her claim that she don't like being told she's wrong. Let's just put it that way. But we'll start that video. I don't know how to pause it in the...
Hi, my name is Kylie, and I've been harassed by men so severely online that I'm thinking about giving up. Misogyny has always been really bad as a feminist content creator, but especially because I talk about intersectionality, which means I'm often talking about the systems that uphold white supremacy and racism in the US, which pisses off a number of uber racist white supremacists. About 6 weeks ago, I was misled by some men, and they ended up having me on a podcast that turned out to be Red Pill. I don't want to go into the details of it because it was honestly like the most traumatic experience of my life and really horrible, and I am scared of these people, so I would prefer to not go into more detail. But I then became a meme known as Crush Out Kylie, which, here's a photo, but They sent their hundreds of followers onto me to leave hate comments and spam report my account until it was removed on Instagram. For child, they do the same thing so that my content has been censored, is not appearing on people's For You pages. I've become a target for them, for incels and red pill people. So if you see this, if you could just let me know, because I'm like really close to giving up and I've been doing this for 2 years. This has been my dream and it's just like...
Come on. Come on. Put the boohoo tears away, Kylie. Next time, do your research on a podcast you're going on to. Brian and Andrew, they have thousands of followers. You should have known that before you went on the podcast. People are not harassing you. They're not attacking you. There may be some jackrabbit, I don't know, douches that are coming after you, and I don't condone that behavior, but you clearly gained 20,000 plus followers since the whatever podcast. And I've seen your recent videos. You're clearly not under any distress from it. So don't make the claim that you're an expert debater, or don't make the claim that you have all these awards and all this. And then cry victim when you were just straight up cooked in a debate. But let's go on to the next one.
Hi, my name is Kylie and I really need your help. Whatever you're doing, stop and watch this video, please. I need your support because I have become a red pill target. A couple months ago, I received a message on my Instagram account that has since been suspended because of mass false reporting by these people, asking me to come on a podcast for a debate. They were incredibly kind, created a contract and promised that they would pay me back for it. I did debate throughout my life, including at an Ivy League school, so I know that I can handle my own with facts and with also my poise. So I fly across the country, I show up only to be verbally degraded and verbally assaulted by their chat, who kept pitching $10, $20, $30 to slap the bitch, put a sock in my mouth, all these other things. That being said, predators are good at what they do. So stop asking people why they showed up to things, why they wore this thing, why whatever. Because none of those things matter to the predator. They are good at making themselves seem very docile and gentle to lure you in. It's a trap. So if you're a woman, do not go on a podcast ever, any network that has a mostly male audience. I don't care what they promise you or how much money they plan to ambush you.
All right. So let's be honest. She's playing the victim card. That's literally all this is. She's clearly playing the victim card. And for one, if I'm going to say it one more time, you should have done your research before you came on the podcast. You were not lured in. You were offered. I don't know Brian's process. I wish I could have a conversation with him. I have no idea what happened, but you were clearly not lured into this. You were clearly not forced into it. You came at your own discretion. You agreed to the terms. And throughout the podcast, the Brian and Andrew proves that behind the screen and on the screen, she agreed to all the terms of it, that she would, and I'm sure in their opening email, which we'll show because he reads it on another episode, that that Brian made the terms that she would get the payment for being there, pending she stayed the full course of the live stream. But she played the victim card, and one of her followers offered to pay her the money that she was going to get, and I showed it. So stop acting like you're a victim, because you're clearly not. You're clearly not a victim. So, yeah, don't We don't need you to play the victim card because you're not a victim. You're clearly not a victim. Knock it off. Clearly, you're just can't handle being told that you're wrong, which you were. You were just clearly 100% wrong. To this video, click here, and you can watch the stream on Sue. What? Sorry, guys. I'm trying to invite some people to watch and join the stream. Give me a few seconds. Yeah. All right. Let's get back to it. I'm just trying to share this. We're live on both my Facebooks, on YouTube, on Instagram, and on Twitch. So hopefully we get some viewers. So I'm going to leave the comment if you want to join as a guest in the comments. So you can check, be a guest. So there is the link if you want to be a guest and help react to this. But there we are. So moving on. So clearly Kylie was not prepared to get cooked in this debate, but
Hi, my name is Kylie, and this is part 2 of my story of being harassed by incels.
And I saved this one for last because it's out of order, but I saved this one for last.
Hi, my name is Kylie, and this is part 2 of my story of being harassed by incels. It has ruined my mental health so severely that I actually ended up getting Bell's palsy. I will not be naming names specifically because, again, I am scared of these people, but you can do your research. I was misled by these people and told that I would be reimbursed for traveling out to California from Chicago. I was not, and I have yet to receive any money. I am out $1,000 from my appearance on this podcast, and still every day I am harassed by their fans online, telling me that I got owned, when in reality I was disrespected blatantly to my face and made to feel unsafe. These people were talking about harming women. They were drinking alcohol on set and making me feel generally very uncomfortable and unsafe, as well as prolonging my duress by holding money and financial gain over my head, because they kept trying to prolong my stay longer and longer under the conditions in the contract that they wouldn't pay me unless I stayed till the end. On the live stream, people would send in money and be like $10 to put a sock in her mouth, slap the bitch, $20, and a bunch of other things. I was obviously scared that they would take the money and harm me. And at the end, they didn't pay me a single cent.
Yeah, well, let's be honest. Let's just be 100% honest about what actually went on here. She got cooked. She got roasted. She felt like a victim. She played the victim card, didn't like it, went home, watched it, cried about it. Not only did she cry on the video multiple times, and we'll go over that, which I think is insane for her to play the victim card, but let's go over it. StreamYard. All right. So we have trying to see if I can't increase the size of this. There we go. So we'll go over this one at a time. This is a long debate, so we'll kind of skip through it if we need to, but I'm going to go and we'll react to every bit of it. So I was told that it's possible to do this, so let's go over it. So starting at 106, let me get to it. Starting at 106, Brian introduces Andrew.
I will introduce our two guests. I'm joined today by Andrew Wilson, host of The Crucible. He's a blood sports debater and political commentator. Also joining us today is Kylie.
And starting at 115, he introduces Kylie. He introduces her according to her request on her script.
Brewer. She's an author, content creator, and educator. She received bachelor degrees in psychology and creative writing from Ivy League school, Brown University. She plans to pursue a graduate degree in public policy. She's also a self-described leftist, feminist, anti-racist, LGBTQ activist. The topic today is feminism. You will each have up to a 10-minute opening statement, and then the rest of the show will just be open conversation with some prompt changes and breaks from messages from the audience.
So, what do we know so far? He was nothing but polite. He was nothing but respectful. He gave her the introduction she asked for. And I got some notes here. Give me a minute. So this is a 3-hour debate. We're going to go through every bit of it. I was just going to do short ends, but I don't think a lot of people have actually watched it. I will post the link to the original video in the description of the video. But in true gentleman fashion, Brian allowed her to go first on her introduction. I would argue she's smiling, showing no discomfort, and has been given the best treatment, no problem, see it in her face. Starting at 1:55, she introduces herself, and her opening statement ends at 6:05. Let's get into that. At one.
Hi, my name's Kylie. I just wanted to start by saying a little bit about what I stand for, which is just feminism generally. And I would want to say that feminism is a crucial movement, both in the United States and across the world. Feminism is defined as advocating for gender equality and challenging the structures of power that perpetuate discrimination and violence against women. It is not an attack on men. Rather, it is a call for an equal and just society. In the U.S., despite progress, women face systemic inequalities, which means that gender inequality is rooted in many of the systems that we see today. For instance, women in the U.S. earn 82 cents for every dollar that a man makes, and Black women earn just 63 cents. So there are 3 reasons potentially that this could be the case, which is, I would say, that we do not value female labor enough in this country. And there's a phenomenon called male flight, which is typically when a field becomes very female-dominated, 50 to 60% women. Men typically begin to leave that field, and the pay rate for women drops. So that might be some sort of implicit phenomenon happening, as well as domestic labor is unpaid, which is when women typically take on more of the child rearing in homes, and obviously that's not something that is compensated. And for women who do go to work and raise kids, there's inadequate child support, meaning we often miss out on promotions or other major opportunities in the career because we are not supported in that way. So this all could explain that economic inequality, which brings me to, according to the World Economic Forum, it's going to take roughly 300 years to close the gender gap for both economic and political empowerment for women. In countries like Afghanistan, women still battle for access to education and healthcare, as well as personal freedoms. In some places, if they open the door without being covered, they may be beaten or arrested. Which brings me to this. The home is the most dangerous place for women, according to the United Nations. The home, the place where we should all feel safe. 6 women are killed every hour around the world by people they know. Now, here are some other very depressing statistics. 1 in 3 women experience violence at the hands of a man in their lifetime, whether that's physical or SA. That's according to the World Health Organization. 50% of women who were unalived in 2017 were killed by an intimate partner violence, according to the United Nations. 650 million women were married before the age of 18. This is according to UNICEF, meaning they became child brides, often against their will. Now, the final statistic is that 71% of human trafficking victims are women and girls. This is not to negate the importance of male victims and standing up for their rights as well, just to point out a general pattern in the fact that women are typically overlooked as well as overrepresented in being victims of crimes. Now, there's also a general tendency to blame women for our oppression, that we make less because our work is less important, or because we choose to work in fields that don't pay as much money, or that we were SA'd because of the clothes we were wearing, or that we were
I got to give a big props to Andrew. Not only is he an expert at debating, but he's also good at taking these notes. That's one thing I'd like to get good at, is taking notes, but I just wanted to add that in real quick.
Unalived because we chose to marry the wrong man. But none of these things are true, and they are rooted in really harmful misconceptions about what the feminist movement stands for. I'm sure you all are also expecting me to be very angry today. I hope that I won't be, but I'm truly interested in furthering the feminist cause, promoting equality, even if it means sometimes talking to people who don't agree with me. And finally, I just would like to say that men can be feminists, and they're very important for the feminist movement, for seeking equal rights around the world. And we strive to combat hate, not promote it, for equal rights for all. And by definition, feminism is about the belief in social, economic, and political equality of the sexes, not about female supremacy or anything like that. And I hope to debunk some of the myths that people think about feminists today and show that it's a very important cause, not just globally, but in the US and in the West. Thank you.
All right, Kylie.
All right, so you heard it, full term. We're going to go back. And I want to not only argue against her claims, which you'll see Andrew's claims after I go through my own personal response to these claims. I want everybody to pay attention. She's happy. She doesn't feel attacked. She doesn't feel forced. She's happy. She's smiling. She's confident. She's comfortable. Remember that. After seeing all her videos, she's clearly happy.
Hi, my name's Kylie. I just wanted to start by saying a little bit about what I stand for, which is just feminism generally. And I would want to say that feminism is a crucial movement.
Okay, my argument against what she's making a claim that feminism is a crucial movement. I would argue there's nothing crucial, nothing beneficial to society when it comes to feminism. Feminism is cancer. Feminism is not benefiting society. It's not benefiting anybody. It's clearly benefiting women without any hesitation. There's clearly no problems when it comes to society for women. They out-earn men. They're more, in some cases, in most cases, there's an even split. The gender pay gap is clearly a myth. It has been debunked thousands of times. Subscription to the Prager University, where they analyzed the gender pay gap. But not only do women benefit from education far more than men, but there is no gender pay gap. There is no right that I have that women do not have. You cannot name one right that I have that a woman does not. So with that being said, feminism is not crucial. If women were fighting for true equality, as Kylie is about to claim, then they would fight for equal punishment under the law. They would fight for equal jail time, equal parenting. I can go on, but you see my point. Let's get back into the video.
In the United States and across the world, feminism is defined as advocating for gender equality and challenging the structures of power that perpetuate discrimination and violence against women.
Now, we clearly just went into that about, we just discussed that feminism is not about equality. It is not. Feminism is not, nor has it ever been, about true equality. There is no evidence to support, not in recent years, not in any definition of the law does feminism fight for equality. It fights for special privileges and advantages. Now, you're about to hear from Kylie that, as you already heard, feminism does not, according to Kylie, fight for special privileges for women. And that is clearly false. There is evidence to support that that is false. We can prove that. There are many evidence to the claim that feminism does not care about men's struggles. So I don't know where she's coming from when she's claiming it's not about special favors for women.
It is not an attack on men, rather it is
False. 100% false.
In the U.S., despite progress, women face systemic inequalities, which means that gender equality is rooted in many of the systems that we see today. For instance,
false.
Women in the U.S. earn 82 cents for every
false.
dollar that a man makes.
Okay.
Women earn just 63 cents.
Let's pause it right there. Okay, so she clearly wants to continue to bring up the gender pay gap, and I am glad to oblige those who believe. They truly believe the gender pay gap exists. I can prove that it does not. We're going to show the Prager University claim. It's about a 5-minute clip. Better yet, I'm not even going to show it. I'll just post the link to the gender pay gap. That way, because this video is going to be long enough as it is. So we'll just post the clip, share, copy. We're going to put that in the chat. This is the gender pay gap. Let's go ahead and show that on the screen. All right, so this is the YouTube video, the gender pay gap. Now I would show it, but this video is going to be long enough as it is. We'll show it in the description, and you can go watch it for yourself. The gender pay gap is a myth. Even a feminist economist has proven that the gender pay gap is reduced down to 6 cents, and that is based on choice. Women choose careers, they choose education, they choose job fields that pay less. There's nothing stopping women from going into bricklaying. There's nothing stopping women from going and working on an oil field. There's nothing preventing women from doing these jobs. They're choosing not to do them. That's the point. But let's get back into the claims that she is making.
So there are 3 reasons potentially that this could be the case, which is, I would say, that we do not value female labor enough in this country.
That's 100% false. Obviously, we value nurses, we value teachers, we value pretty much every field women do. It has value, but you cannot claim it's not value just because you earn less than a guy that works on an oil rig derrick, or you make less than a truck driver. If you want to make more, choose a career that pays more.
phenomenon called male flight, which is typically when a field becomes very female dominated.
Male flight. Let's look into this claim where she's being male flight. Male flight. It looks like, well, a term to describe a flight designated for, no. Let's see. What is male flight? In a workplace context, the term male flight is a bit less common and might refer to different things depending on the organization. Here's a couple possibilities. That's not it. Term flight. Yeah. Yeah. There's nothing. I think she made this term up. What is male flight? Male flight is a sociological term. It refers to a phenomenon where men or boys disproportionately disengage from certain environments or activities due to perceived or actual challenges in those environments. It often occurs in educational, social, or professional contexts. Educational, and we're looking for a workplace. Here it is, male flight. In a workplace, male flight can refer to a situation where men leave or disengage from certain professions or roles, often due to social pressures, gender expectations, or change in professional dynamics. Now let's rewind and hear that again.
We do not value female labor enough in this country, and there's a phenomenon called male flight, which is typically when a field becomes very female dominated, 50 to 60% women. Men typically get to leave that field, and the pay rate for women drops. So that might be some sort of implicit.
Now, let's find out if her claim is true. Is it true that in a workplace, male flight causes men to leave a workplace and lowers the pay for women in that field? Let's see. Male flight in the workplace can potentially lead to shifts in the dynamic in certain professions, including impacted wages and gender representation. Here's how the concept of male flight might affect men, women, and overall pay. Male flight refers to a trend where men leave or avoid certain professions or fields, often because those fields are perceived as being female dominated or because of cultural biases and gender roles. This is common in fields like nursing, elementary education, social work, and caregiving. Impact on women's pay. When male workers leave a particular field, there can be unintended consequences, women's wages, and gender equity in the workplace. I don't know. It just seems like hogwash. She might be making a true statement. It just seems. I don't know.
As domestic labor is unpaid, which is when
it seems like a very rare claim. Now she's talking about domestic labor. This is what I wanted to talk about. All right, so now we're going to have women make the claim that they can take care of themselves without a man. Just argument, I'll concede that it's possible a woman can provide for herself, but to make the claim that a stay-at-home wife or mother is doing a labor where she's being unpaid is not only intellectually dishonest, but it's also intellectually disingenuous, because not only is your roof over your head covering all your expenses, but your house is being paid for, your insurance, your health care, you got food on the table, you got food in the fridge, you got AC, you got air conditioning, all your utilities are being paid. You're paying for your house by providing your husband the necessary provisions by cooking, cleaning, taking care of the house. You're literally not getting unpaid. You're getting paid for your duties with a free house, free air conditioning, free food, free appliances, a bed, a place to shower, a place to eat, a place to rest your head at night. You got protection. You are working for those provisions. So to make the claim that a stay-at-home mom or stay-at-home wife is unpaid labor is just, it's illogical. And I'm tired of the argument. That's my claim. Here in a few, you'll hear Andrew's, but we'll keep going into her claims.
Women typically take on more of the child rearing in home.
Because the man has to work. That, good God. She makes the claim that she has 150 IQ. To all the women in the background, to everybody watching, to anybody that has a brain, how do you expect your man to pay for everything and also spend all his time taking care of the child? He can't be in two places at once. If he's at work providing all your needs, everything you need and everything you want, how do you expect him to be at home? If you don't want a broke man, expect a busy man. That's the way society has always worked. The man went to work, the woman stayed at home, took care of the household. Women were far more happier back then. That's just the way it's always been. There's nothing that you could do, nothing you can say to change the fact that women clearly have it good. Nothing you can say to change the fact that women clearly. Sorry, I'm testing the audio. I want to make sure this is coming across.
And obviously, that is not something that is compensated. And for women who do go to work and raise kids, there's inadequate child support, meaning we often miss out on promotions or other major.
Okay, good. The audio is fine. That's what I wanted.
So this all could explain that economic inequality.
Oh, sorry, let's go back.
And obviously, that's not something that is compensated. And for women who do, not say that we do not value female labor enough, the field becomes very female dominated, 50 to 60% women. Men typically get to leave that field, and the pay rate for women.
I had to backtrack, sorry.
That might be some sort of implicit phenomenon happening, as well as domestic labor is unpaid, which is when women typically take on more of the child rearing in homes, and obviously that's not something.
Like, seriously, anybody watching this, anybody with a brain, can you tell me how it does not make sense to you that if you're at home taking care of the kids, somebody has to work? You're literally have everything provided for you on a platter. I don't, like, my brain just can't make sense of how you can go to work, or sorry, how you can make the claim that you're undervalued, you're unappreciated, and you're not treated fairly when you're basically having everything handed to you on a silver platter and somebody has to work. Trust me, if we didn't have to work and we had everything handed, we'd be happy. And if men didn't have to work to provide, we could spend more time with the kids. What is so difficult for you to understand that somebody has to be gone working? That's just the way society is. Somebody has to work, somebody has to take care of the kids. I can't grasp how somebody who claims she has 150 IQ can't acknowledge the reality that that's why men have less time for the kids.
Is compensated, and for women who do go to work and raise kids, there's inadequate child support, meaning they often miss out on promotions or other major opportunities in career because you're not supported in that way. So this all could explain that economic inequality.
That is clearly false. Okay, so let's look at why women might be getting paid less when it comes to why women get paid less when it comes to having to leave work with childcare. Hold on, let me replay that. I want to make sure.
Work and raise kids, there's inadequate child support, meaning they often miss out on promotions or other major opportunities in career because you're not supported in that way.
Okay, so she's mentioned inadequate child support. Well, let's look at it this way. She brought up two factors. Okay, she brought up child support and not being valued in work. Okay, so let's dive into that a little bit. So child support, let's start with that. I would argue a man in some or most cases not only has to provide for the child, but also has to continue sharing his resources with a woman he's no longer married to or has access to touch, kiss, be a love, or be a part of their lives. So he is forced to pay for your lifestyle and the kid, and he's kicked out of his own home and has to pay for his own. So he has to pay for his truck, his insurance, his house. Maybe he's living in a studio apartment because he can't afford to have two mansions or two houses or two locations. So his resources are greatly reduced because he's now covering you. Now, when it comes to the workplace dynamic, look at it this way. If you're leaving work to go home and women do take more vacation time than men do. Women overwhelmingly use more vacations, they use more time off, they have the maternity leave, and nobody is faulting women for taking maternity leave. It is a valuable asset for women to be a part of the child's life. You can't make the claim that because a man has to work and spends less time with the child that you're more valuable because you spend more time with the child. He's providing for you and the child. What is so hard about that? I'm gonna ask that 1,000 times throughout my life. Women claim to be so smart, but don't realize that somebody has to work, somebody has to be at home. And yes, I'll repeat that for the rest of my life. It's confusing. But if you, a woman, go home for vacation, if you take time off for vacations, for maternity leave, whatever, the men don't. So obviously, if you're gone for 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, the men that are still there are still making money that you, on the other hand, would not have been making they earned a promotion while you were gone. Why should he have to make less money? Why should you be allowed to make the same amount of money these men are because you've been gone for 3 or 4 months taking care of your child? That's not punishment for the woman. Clearly the fact that he was here and put in more time, more effort, more energy than you. Now, it's not a punishment. It's just the way the work life is. You want a promotion, you have to be there the same amount of time that men are. But women do take up more vacation time. They take up more leave. They have to leave early for kids to get out of school, which it's not a bad thing that you have to take care of your kids. We value that. But it still doesn't change the fact that John, Jeff, Charlie, whatever, was staying till 5, 6, 7, 8 o'clock, or was on call or willing to be in the office at any time that the business needed them. They proved that, and you'll see it in the gender pay gap myth video that I'm sharing in the link or in the description, that even when two male lawyers in the office have the same experience, the same job title, came in with the same educational whatever, we're talking about two men, they're more likely to pay the man who is willing to be on call and be in the office at any time than the man that's willing to, that's only wanting to work a 9 to 5, which there's nothing wrong with people that want to work a 9 to 5, but the availability does add into your salary. And that's one thing that this woman or any woman who makes claim that women make less, I don't understand how people can claim to be so smart, yet have the attitude that women should be paid the same if women are not putting in the same hours, the same effort, the same energy as men. And the same thing happens when you have two male coworkers. One who is willing to work longer hours, be on call, willing to come in at any time, day or night, without any hesitation, will make more than a man that just wants to work a 9 to 5. It's not a sexist thing. It's just common sense.
This all proves that economic inequality, which brings me to, according to the World Economic Forum, it's going to take roughly 300 years to close the gender gap for both economic and political.
I don't know how she can make the claim that it's going to take 300 years. None of us are going to be around for that to acknowledge that. She has no proof of that. And I would say women have all the same rights and privileges as men do, and there's no question about it.
Empowerment for women. In countries like Afghanistan, women.
And that's where she loses me right there. Let me take that off the screen. That's where she loses me right there. When we're having these debates about gender pay gap, whatever, I don't like or whatever, sexism, whatever. I don't like how people want to take an American debate and add in Afghanistan, Iraq, Lithuania. I don't care. The problem is she's an American. She needs to discuss American issues, American problems where she has experience. I have no knowledge about Iraq. I don't care. I have no knowledge about Afghanistan. I really don't care. Do I have a heart for those people that are going through bad things? Sure. But when we're having these discussions, she's an American. She lives in America. She needs to focus on America. And all these people who want to add Afghanistan and Lithuania or Russia or China, whatever, who cares? Because I'm not saying I don't care about their problems. Don't take it that way. No people are going to clip this. But put it this way. When we're having these discussions, she's an American citizen. Andrew's American citizen. I'm American citizen. Brian is American citizen. When we're having these debates, why can't we just focus on America? Because literally here in America, the point that needs to be made is women literally are not oppressed. Women are not suffering in America. They have more rights, more privileges than men will ever have. There's no question about it. She's using data that has not been able to be repeated. Nobody can repeat the studies that she's bringing up. Andrew will prove that. But let's get back into it.
Still battle for access to education and healthcare as well as personal freedoms. In some places, if they open the door without being covered, they may be beaten or arrested. Which brings me to this. The home is the most dangerous place for women, according to the United Nations. The home, the place where we should all feel safe.
Okay. While it's true that in a small minority of cases, women have been harmed in their home, but so have men. Men have also been harmed in their home by the women. So let's make the claim. In America, we need to focus on America. Is it true that in other countries, women have danger to be in their home? Sure. But I'm not going to focus on that. I don't care. Do I care about women in other countries? Sure. But that has nothing to do with America. I solely care about American women, American men, American problems. I can't make a change in Russia. I can't make a change in China. I can't make a change in Afghanistan. And she can't either. Yeah, there are problems in those countries, but that is an Afghanistan problem. And I don't care to discuss it. I don't care to bring it up because it has nothing to do with an American woman's problems. Her being an American in America, those are the problems she needs to focus on, because American women do not have problems. They are not suffering. They are not problems. They do not have problems in America. She's full of it. Telemarketers, gotta hate them. Let's get back into it. Okay.
6 women are killed every hour around the world by people they.
All right, so let's look at it this way. She makes the claim that 6 women are unalived every hour across the world. Okay. I want to ask a question. How many men across the world are killed every hour? Okay. According to global statistics, 7.7 deaths per hour. Now, this is talking about all, not just men. That's what I want to talk about. Annual male deaths are roughly around 30 million men who each year. So if you divide 30 million male deaths by 365 days times 24 hours, that means that across the world, 3,420 male deaths per hour. Now, how many of those deaths are from a woman unaliving her husband? According to this, calculating the data, about so says about 5 to 10%. If we use the 5%, that means 171 deaths per hour by a woman. A woman killed her husband throughout the world. If we use 5%, that's 171 deaths per hour. She makes the claim that 6 women across the world die every hour. According to this, 171 deaths per hour if we use the 5%. If we use the 10%, that means that 342 men have died from the hands of their wives. So the argument stands that her claim is a problem. Is it a problem that women die every hour? 6 women die per hour? Sure. But I would argue it's more toxic and more harmful if 342 men die every hour by the hands of women.
Now, here are some other very depressing statistics. 1 in 3 women experience violence at the hands of a man in their lifetime.
Okay, let's see if that's true. How many women in America, because I only care about them, well, no, let's use the world. In the world, experience violence from a man. According to this, according to UNICEF, it does say 1 in 3. She's correct on what UNICEF has to say. 736 million women across the globe have experienced physical violence from partner or non-partner. All right, so let's look at the other end. How many men across the world have experienced violence from the hands of women? Bet you it's higher. Calculating. $390 million men. 390 million men, according to, what is this? Scope of male victimization. Now, this data is not only a partial truth, but it's also a major lie. We have evidence to support the fact that when, let me pull up my blog. Okay. .wordpress.com. All right. What? Oh. Dearden2007 blog. Okay. All right. So let me pull up this window on the stream. All right. So we're going to show the screen. Let me remove that screen and we'll come back to that video here in a second. Not that one. All right. So let's bring this up. All right. So this is my blog. So when you come here, it's Dearden2007blog.wordpress.com. You scroll down until you get to the, I just post a lot of random shit. This blog has helped me get out of my depression after my wife passed away. So ignore a lot of it. It's hogwash. Or it's not hogwash. A lot of it is true. The other is whatever. So scroll down until you get to the point where you see the title domestic violence. Okay. February 10th, 2023. Inside of this post, you'll see 7 links that I have posted that prove that women perpetrated 70 to 80% of all the non-mutual domestic violence. Now, the first one, this is the law office of Randy Collins, and I'll just read a little bit of it. So let's see if I can. All right, so national police reports and emergency room records indicate that women make up 75 to 90% of the victims reported in domestic abuse cases, but studies show the statistic distorts the truth and can be explained by the fact that men are reluctant to report being victims of domestic abuse for fear of ridicule or humiliation. Furthermore, police and courts tend to disbelieve male victims, and men who call for help during domestic disputes are more likely to be the one arrested when the police arrive. So what's the truth regarding domestic violence? According to the Center for Disease Control, the CDC, almost 24% of all relationships experience some level of violence. 50% of domestic violence cases involve mutual violence. That's where both people were violent. In the other 50% of domestic violence cases, the violence was non-mutual, as in only one person was violent. In relationships where violence was non-mutual, almost 70% of the violence was perpetrated by the woman. In other words, in almost 7 out of 10 cases of mutual violence, the batterer was the female. Furthermore, mutually violent relationships were most likely to result in injuries to women. However, and before I read on, I want to say I don't think it matters who's more likely to be harmed. And maybe they'll go into it, but the problem is, if I were to go up to Goldberg, my favorite all-time wrestler, and bitch slap him in the face, and he beats me into the concrete, nobody's gonna give a shit that I'm weaker than him. Will Smith said it best: "Don't start nothing, won't be nothing. Don't start a fight, then claim victim when you get beaten to the ground." Women should not be violent to men. Men should not be violent to women. But I make the argument that if we allowed men to be violent to women when they were violent first, perhaps it would educate women into not being violent in the first place. Maybe that would teach them not to be violent towards men. Just a thought process. Doesn't say it's 100% valid. Just an idea. Damn it. Where were we? All right. So, furthermore, mutually violent relationships were most likely to result in injuries to women. However, women who participated in mutually violent behavior with their male partners were more likely to display a pattern of repeated violence than men. I want to get rid of this AI. I don't care. Anyways, women also lead the men in cases of severe aggression, with male-initiated aggression in 8.4% of cases and female-initiated aggression in 11.5% of the cases. The study also revealed that the most often cited reason for male-initiated aggression was female physical aggression, while for female-initiated aggression, it was male verbal aggression. Is female domestic violence most often in self-defense? Studies show that in half the reported abuse cases, it is almost impossible to determine what initiated the violence. In the other half reported domestic violence cases, males and females initiate physical aggression at an equal rate. This is true not only in the United States, but also around the world. Data collected from 68 university studies from 38 different countries and involving more than 13,600 students found the following. 32% of the participants had displayed some level of violence toward their dating partner in the previous year. In 68% of the cases, the violence was mutual. In 9% of violence was male only and 21% female only. In 25% of the cases, the male initiated the violence. 25% the female initiated the violence. In other words, 50%, one could not tell who initiated the violence. Studies of married couples show similar results, with domestic violence being initiated as follows: 25% male, 25% female. The other was 50% mutually. So what can we conclude about domestic violence? From the following findings, we can safely conclude the following. the rate of female on male violence is equal to the rate of male on female violence. Domestic violence has nothing to do with gender. Society is misinformed about the nature of domestic violence, and domestic violence prosecution is based on myth rather than reality. Finally, women initiate domestic violence as often as still when the police arrive. It's most often the man who's arrested. Regardless in circumstances, if you, yeah, we're not going to go into that. Let's go back and we'll read another one. This is alliesqmedium.com. And this is where domestic violence against men is often underreported. Furthermore, studies demonstrate that intimate violence, women are more often initiators of physical violence. Expert testimony that provides such crucial information is necessary to overcome the bias against men in domestic violence cases and related restraining order matters, especially where men are claiming self-defense or filing protective orders against abusive women. Social workers and judges are often skeptical of such by men, and it's time we bring science into the courtroom to end such systematic gender-based discrimination against men. Analyzing data gathered from 11,370 respondents, researchers found that half of the violent relationships were reciprocally violent, which matches the Randy Collins study. The CDC study were reciprocally violent. In non-reciprocal violent relationships, women were the perpetrators of more than 70% of the cases. Out of all the respondents, a quarter of the women admitted to perpetrating the domestic violence, and when the violence was reciprocal, women were often the ones to be the first to strike. In addition to an analytic view of 552 domestic violence studies published by the Psychological Bulletin, found that 38% of the physical injuries suffered in domestic violence disputes were suffered by men. And it posts the article here. See bus.com general 9702-women. Long story short, you can see and I'll post all these links in the description. Let me notate that in my post links to domestic violence evidence that women perpetrate more in YouTube description. I'm just notating for myself so I can keep my promises to have all these links available. Now, that's 2 out of 5. I can go through each one. We have NCBI, National Health Organization, National Institute of Health.gov, publicsquaremag.org, sciencedirect.com. I got 7 links. You could read them all in the description, but we'll go from there. So let's get back to the video.
And whether that's physical or SA. That's according to the World Health Organization. 50% of women who were unalived in 2017 were killed by intimate partner violence, according to the United Nations.
Well, again, as we just saw, don't start nothing, don't be nothing. I would argue if women were so let me make myself bigger on this. I want to make sure that everybody sees me clearly when I say this. If women do not like domestic violence and they're so against violence, why are they the ones perpetrating the domestic violence? Why are the women perpetrating domestic violence 70% to 80% of the time and then acting like they're victims? Now, I don't condone violence against women ever. I'm not for it. I am against it 100%. But it's time that men stop being treated like they're punching bags and that they're not allowed to defend themselves. So if women are against domestic violence, probably shouldn't be starting something. Oh shit, we weren't showing the clip. Let's remove this. Let's add the video back. Stop screen. Share screen. Share screen. Let's get back to the clip. All right. So if you didn't hear that a minute ago, she made the claim that in 50, here, we'll just go back.
6 women are killed every hour around the world by people they know. Now, here are some other very depressing statistics. 1 in 3 women experience violence at the hands of a man in their lifetime, whether that's physical or SA. That's according to the World Health Organization. 50% of women who were unalived in 2017 were killed by an intimate partner violence, according to the United Nations. 650 million women were married before the age of 18.
Okay. So when she brings up minors or someone under the age of 18 being married, is that wrong? Sure. Some people because they want to, and parents sign off on it. But I would argue, whether it be America or other countries, do I think it's wrong that grown men are marrying minors? Hell yeah, I think it's wrong. But again, we should only be focused on American issues. Yes. But what can we really do? Oh, shit.
Andrew, if you'd like to give yours now.
Yeah. And women still battle for access to education and healthcare, as well as countries like Ukraine. We often miss out on promotions or other major economic. 300 years to close Afghanistan. In some places, if they open the door without being covered, they may displace for women, according to the United Nations.
Okay, well, let's just get into.
The home.
I lost my place.
6 women are killed every hour.
Here we are.
Depressing statistic. Physical or unalived in 2017 were killed by an intimate partner violence, according to the United Nations. 650 million women were married before the age of 18. This is according to UNICEF, meaning they became child brides, often against their will. Now, the final statistic is that 71% of human trafficking victims are women and girls.
Let's confirm that that's true. Well, I'll agree that women are more likely to be sought after by terrible people, but across the world, what statistic of women are trafficked? Versus men. So I want to see the actual data, see if she's correct. An estimated 50% of women are trafficked. UNODC, women and girls account for 71% of victims. So she said 60%, this is 70%. So roughly 25% of males. So she has some truth in that. So I just wanted to confirm that that was true.
This is not to negate the importance of.
And it's wrong. It's wrong. Everybody being trafficked is terrible. It's wrong. It shouldn't happen. I don't condone trafficking at all. In fact, when I got my CDL, I'm a truck driver. When I got my CDL, I promised and I signed a contract that went along with my CDL to join Truckers Against Trafficking. Look it up. Truckers Against Trafficking is that we are required by law to report any form of trafficking whatsoever. And it's worked. Trafficking has gone way down thanks to truckers.
Standing up for their rights as well, just to point out the general pattern.
So next time you meet a trucker, see a trucker, you got a trucker here, thank the trucker for what they do, because of truck drivers, human trafficking has gone way, way down.
And the fact that women are typically overlooked as well as overrepresented in being victims of crimes. Now, there's also a general tendency to blame women for our oppression. that we make less because our work is less important, or because we choose to work in fields that don't.
We already went over that. She just keeps repeating that over and over. Nobody unappreciates women's work, but you get paid for the work you do. If you choose a career that pays less, you're going to get paid less. A teacher cannot make the same as an oil rig worker. A teacher cannot make the same as a truck driver. That's just the way it is. If you want to make more money, choose a career that pays you more, and put in more hours if you want to make more money.
Pay as much money, or that we were SA'd because of the clothes we were wearing, or that we were unalived because we chose to marry the wrong man.
All right, so let's look into that. This is not I'm not even going to bring up statistics. I'm just going to argue what she just said. So, is it true that some people made the claim that, oh my God, you were wearing a slutty outfit, or what you were wearing? Now, I'm not completely up to par on that. I don't think I agree with people using that as an argument, but there is an argument to be made about being modest. You should always be modest with what you wear. You should always be modest with your action. Like, I cannot go into a high crime area with a briefcase of over $1 billion and hold it over my head that says I'm rich and I have money on me, or leave if I had a Porsche or a Lexus or a Cadillac and I leave the door unlocked with the keys in it, I can't be mad that someone robs it. But to make the argument like that, I just want you to understand that both men and women have the ability to control what do we have? We have a comment. Cheap viewers on streamboo.com. Yeah, I don't need to pay for viewers. I'm starting out low. I'm starting out new. I'm not looking to make money or pay money to get fake viewers. I want genuine, honest viewers. I'm not going to pay for viewers. If it takes me forever, that's fine. But that's quit hustling to get me to buy viewers. But there's an argument to be made about that you as an individual, me as an individual, have the opportunity every day to control the outcome, have a way to control, to minimize risk. You have a chance to minimize risk. And your outfit, how you present yourself, where you present yourself, where you go, what choices you make, you have the ability to minimize risk. So some people using the clothes you wear is kind of valid. It's kind of valid, but I don't think it's an argument that women will truly understand, because they look at it from a victim mentality, but look at it from a minimizing risk viewpoint. So if you dress modestly, you're less likely to face risk. It's just an idea. Just a thought.
But none of these things are true, and they are rooted in really harmful misconceptions about what the feminist movement stands for. I'm sure you all are also expecting me to be very angry today, and I hope that I won't be, but I'm true.
Nobody's expecting you to be angry. I don't know why she makes that claim.
Interested in furthering the feminist cause, promoting equality, even if it means sometimes talking to people who don't agree with me. And finally, I just would like to say that men can be feminists, and they're very...
Men should not be feminists. Not ever. Not ever, but they are. And ladies, let me make my face bigger. Let me just make this clear. Ladies, the male feminists that you claim are on your side, they just want to get laid. But you obviously don't want them. You love their support, but secretly, I guarantee you, They're just hoping that somewhere in the cracks you're going to let them slide in. And these are just mentally unstable men who think that you are going to give them a chance to hit it, and you're clearly never going to allow it. So these male feminists, they're fake. Just know that. Learn that.
Important for the feminist movement, for seeking equal rights around the world, and we strive to combat hate, not promote it.
Feminists, hey. That is so not true. God, I wish I could share more than one screen at a time. It doesn't let me. So we're going to stop this. We're going to bring up the next. Let me bring up. We're going to show you a Warren Farrell protest, okay? Now, this is proof that by simply men collectively coming together, by men simply coming together to discuss male problems and male problems and male issues, women clearly cannot handle the fact that men want to talk about the struggles of men and boys. So I want you to look at this woman in the bottom right, okay? Focus on her face, because you're about to see how much hate feminists have for men who just want to come together and talk about the struggles of men and boys. Pay attention. It's gonna blow your mind. It blows my mind every time I see it. Kylie, you made the fake claim that feminists do not want to spread hate, correct? Watch this clip.
Very frustrated. I was studying all today, and I took time out of my studies to come here to ask him why he's here.
I'm not sufficiently convinced that I'll receive an answer that isn't what I presented.
Two of my friends committed suicide, and I want the peace of understanding why that happened. When did this happen? It happened about 2 years ago. It was one after the other, like that. Did you expect to get some addressing of suicide issue at the talk? Yes, I did.
What I have to ask on that, and I'll ask you, is why this space to talk about that. There's like feminism, for example, offers lots of space to talk about.
All right, time out. Pay attention to what she just said. Why do men have to have this space where we're afraid to be at to make this discussion? The feminists don't realize that when feminists come together and have a discussion, men are not showing up to their events in order to cancel or protest it. This private or this personal Warren Farrell speech where he was presenting the struggles of men and boys, feminists came to retaliate and shut it down. So to ask why are men having these spaces, or why do they need these spaces, is intellectually disingenuous, and you're just watch. You'll see the hate.
Mental health issues, talk about depression, both in men, women, and people who don't identify with the binary.
I think everybody's voice should be
Heard.
I wondered why the security was trying to keep me back, and I think it's for my own safety.
Pay attention. This is the woman I told you to pay attention to earlier. She's up in this cop's face. She deserves to be arrested Kylie Brewer. She's a feminist. This woman here is a feminist. Hey, Kylie, answer me this question. Is this woman in the video hates? I would argue she is.
So you believe it's hate speech, right? I've never heard of him before. I don't even know what he's. I've never heard of him before.
We invite you to
I just want, yeah. So I just wanted to see who this guy is and what he's talking about. But now I can't get it.
You should be fucking ashamed of yourself. You're fucking dumb. You are fucking dumb. Fucking great apologist, incest supporting, woman hating, fucking dumb.
Yeah, they called Warren Farrell throughout this protest that he was a essay apologist. I'm not going to say the R word, but she makes a claim that Warren Farrell is a essay apologist. Again, I'm not going to say the hard R. So with that being said, let's look at getting back to the video. So Kylie, answer all of us honestly. Are feminists presenting hate? I think they are.
Equal rights. Feminism is about the belief in social, economic, and political equality of the sexes, not about female supremacy or anything like that. And I hope to debunk some of the myths that people think about feminists today and show that it is a very important cause.
Okay. Well, I think you got the gist of it. We don't need to finish all of it because you pretty much got it, but let me bring me back in. So with that being said, need to look at it simply this way, that feminists don't want equality, because if they did, they would be pro 50-50 custody. They would be pro women facing more prison time to deviate the imbalance, because women receive 63% less prison time than men do. Again, women do not give a damn about equality. They want special advantages and entitlements and demand special treatment from men. But they already have all the rights, all the privileges, all the advantages that men do, plus more. So they have way more rights than we do. So to make the dishonest claim that men are oppressors, that's just clearly not true. But let's get into Andrew's rebuttal to what she says.
And she knows
The U.S. and in the West. Thank you.
All right, Kylie, thank you very much for your opening statement. Andrew, if you'd like to give yours now.
Yeah, just a second. Let me back up here. One thing I wanted to address right in my opening, I've been going through Kylie's videos, and she knows so much which is not so. This is a big bait and switch. This happens often. I think I pointed this out for one of the podcast many times, especially when it comes to sociology and psychology, how often they're wrong. Here's how they're wrong most often. What they do is they take studies which are recently published, they point to those data sets and say, because this is right now the most current data set we have, it's true, and then operate as though those things are in reality true when they're not. Kinsey says, for instance, on gender quotas, according to, and she cites this, and many feminists cite this.
My name is, are you talking about?
The
Kinsey study.
Yeah, the Kinsey study, which you cite, right? And most feminists cite the Kinsey study, has been debunked for years. I don't know why.
Which study is this?
Hang on, it's my opening statement.
You'll have a chance to.
Notice how Andrew didn't interrupt her once. He listened to all her opening claims. Andrew is now in his opening statement trying to make his response. Andrew and Brian has had to silence her for the first time once to show that it's his turn to speak.
So let me walk you through that.
Now pay attention to her facial expressions. She doesn't like that they put her in her place, that They expressed to her that she had her opening statement with no interruptions, but Brian and Andrew asked her politely to let him finish. And from this moment on, you'll see the disrespect from Kylie in her facial expressions.
Earlier this week, journalist Christopher Brunette flagged a paper in the March 2024 issue of Econ Journal Watch, a biannual publication edited by George Mason economist Daniel Klein, that publishes articles, links, responses to other economists' errors. The paper, written by accounting professor Jeremiah Green of Texas A&M and John R.M. Hand of the University of North Carolina, addressed the first of 3 McKinsey 4-installment series of diversity studies. Green and Hand sought to test the replicability of McKinsey's findings. Guess what they found, guys? Could another set of researchers using the same data come to the same conclusions? Since McKinsey refused to turn over its numbers, Green and Hand had to reverse engineer the firm's 2015, 18, and 20 data sets. The results were startling. Green and Hand couldn't replicate the results of McKinsey's first 3 studies, which monitored the profitability and executive demographics of an undisclosed group of S&P 500 firms claiming to have found a positive correlation between diverse leadership and the firm's performance. We do not find a statistical significant positive correlation between McKinsey's measures of the racial ethnic diversity of executive terms of firms as measured in December 2019, Green and Hand reported, and either the likelihood of financial outperformance in 15-19. So to give you a quick summary, the study seems to show its most likely correlation and not causation, meaning companies were already doing very financially well, and they have the luxury to mess around with diversity quotas and initiatives. In addition, the data from the 2024 paper was unable to replicate any of the older McKinsey studies, any of them. That should tell you something. So that's a very recent data set, right? Why don't any of the psychologists ever go with the recent data set? Well, the reason they don't go with it is because it doesn't affirm their nonsensical worldviews. That's why they don't go with them ever. You'll find this very common in sociology and in psychology, which suffer from the replication crisis. Somewhere around 60% of their findings cannot be replicated, are not to be trusted. Psychology is the study of the mind. The scientific views of psychology are only done through data collection, but it has to be interpreted. This is a major, major problem. So many feminists will tell you so many studies, and luckily I have all of the ones to refute all of my opponent's studies today, because what happens is they have a biased worldview and they want the data set to correlate with the worldview rather than wanting to tell you what the actual truth is. The truth is that a bunch of S&P 500 companies who are very rich were already doing really well. And for purposes of publicity, they decided that they were going to start doing a bunch of DEI hires and ethnic hires and this type of thing. And they decided that the correlation they made the correlation causation error. That's it. You'll find this over and over again, I'm sure, as we go through this debate, as we go through the numbers, especially when it comes to the abuse of women, especially when it comes to just how useful women are. We talk about domesticated labor, what a joke. You believe that women should be paid some type of domestic wage. However, it's skilled labor in the home, which keeps the home running. It's always going to be paid way more than domestic labor because it's more worthwhile than domestic labor. Simple. So with that, I'll finish my opening statement. I can't wait to dive right into this.
Now, pay attention. Andrew simply debunked all of her claims. He was nothing but respectful about it. He argued against her claims, showed evidence within his opening statement that her claims were false. Yet she's making all these facial. Now, I'll leave the video. I don't want to go into 3 hours of it. To end this, I want to get into where she starts to play the victim.
Or logic, by the way.
Okay, sure. But you can continue. I mean, I don't really have much else to say on this. I've already
it's
clarified.
A critique of your worldview so that we can understand who you're appealing to for these so-called rights.
That's an interesting question.
Or rights.
Sure.
You would have to appeal to force.
Then.
So much. You're such a whiner. You just.
Here it is.
Xerxes donated $100. Hi Kylie, are you a communist or anti-capitalist? Can women be sexist towards men? Can minorities be racist towards white people? Is misogyny worse than misandry?
So there's like 4 there. Why don't we start with the first one? How
Sure.
do you? What,
In terms of this, but ingenuity and fitness stuff, that women can definitely like just the term sexism. Jen couldn't like sit on that.
Even though,
No, I would.
but you're not here to elevate women over men. Even though
No, I would like for women to like. Be
they
seen
can't,
equal.
but they can't be sexist though. All men, because
it seems like.
Oh, was for a while on that one.
Yeah. So, well, can
Uh-huh.
minorities be racist towards white people?
like maybe like you know, whether it's some areas.
And then so Andrew, there was the can women be sexist towards men? Can minorities be racist?
yeah. So
towards
I
white
reject.
people?
Yeah. So I categorically reject.
There was one other thing you said to me there in private.
You're fundamentally a dishonest person. Like fundamentally dishonest.
All right, this is where Andrew starts to cook. He's not being rude. He's not being disrespectful. He's being truthful. He's telling her that she's being disingenuous and fundamentally dishonest. So she's taking all this as personal attacks, and this is where she starts to bring out her victim card.
There's no reason for you to hold that presumption at all. On top of there being no reason for you to hold that presumption whatsoever, you get to the studio, then say you have health issues. It's like, yeah, it seems fundamentally dishonest.
That's just kind of something that you don't want to disclose because it's a little embarrassing.
Oh, fake tears, fake tears. Now I want you to pay attention. I want you to watch how quickly the fake crying turns into not crying. These are clearly fake tears.
We're not
Okay.
asking you.
Are you going to cry?
Look,
strong
we're
woman?
not asking
Thought you were a strong
Look,
woman.
I hope you guys have a really good day. I'm leaving.
Hold on.
No,
You gonna cry?
Hold on. We're not. Look,
I thought you were a strong woman.
Now, for nobody who gave Brian credit for this, he's trying to mediate, even though Kylie was the one instigating a lot of this with her fake ass tears, her crying, her arguing. Andrew says at one point, we'll just continue.
Kylie, do you want to just take like 3 minutes to gather? I mean, you agreed to. Yeah, but that you can't do some technicality where, well, I showed up for 2 minutes and I'm just going to leave and get the benefits of. Look, Kylie, just take a 5-minute breather. You still there, Kylie? Look, do you want to take a 5-minute breather? Come back and we'll.
Pay attention. Brian's trying to bring it back. He's being calm. He's being respectful. He's offering her a break. He's trying to bargain with her so she stays for the time that she agreed to stay. The contract was that she stayed for the whole debate, not just leave halfway through it. Brian was respectful.
We'll talk. Okay. All right. Here, I'll do some checks.
I fucked drugs. Glad your family is safe.
You engaged in all. She agreed, changed it, and they're you know what I mean. And the whole time it's been all about tone and Andrew's bad and this and this. Like then we get to it. She lied through her teeth. She agreed to 6:30 before the cameras rolled. I'm telling you, she not only agreed to it, but basically, I mean, they discussed it. And she was like, "Yeah, 6:30." Then she changes her mind, right? And then kind of was very dishonest about the reasoning behind it. And there's a form of female manipulation which happens when they're like, "I don't want to disclose any health issues because it could be embarrassing." It's like, well, then why did you agree to the show?
We didn't ask about that.
But of course not. It's all fundamentally dishonest. And so it's like, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to look at her when they turn on the waterworks when it's clearly manipulation to be like, oh, okay then. Yeah, fuck that. Fuck that. I've had 2 really good faith interlocutors we've gone back and forth with. I don't hold any ill will towards them, but it's like, you came to do the debate. I flew out here to do the debate. Do the fucking debate. Stop. You know what I mean? Just do the debate.
Yeah, pay attention. He's being clear about it. He's just calling her out for her fake tears. Now, he's right. Why would she agree to come to the debate having done no research on the podcast whatsoever, having done no research whatsoever on Andrew, having to make the claim that she has no idea that Andrew is just bold, blunt, honest, truthful, and can blood sport debater, yet she's playing the victim card because she has health issues. And as you saw her at the beginning, she blames the health issues on. Here, let's just bring those up. Let's play that one again.
Hi, my name is Kylie and I really need your help. Whatever you're doing, stop and watch this video, please. I need your support because I have become a red pill target. A couple months ago, I received a message on my Instagram account that has since been suspended because of mass false reporting by these people, asking me to come on a podcast for a debate. They were incredibly kind, created a contract and promised that they would pay me back for it. I did debate throughout my life, including at an Ivy League school, so I know that I can handle my own with facts and with also my poise. So I fly across the country, I show up only to be verbally degraded and verbally assaulted by their chat who kept pitching $10, $20, $30 to slap the bitch, put a sock in my mouth, all these other things. That being said, predators are good at what they do. So stop asking.
Let's stop it there. First off, the host of the show does not control the words that come on the screen. Okay? They could control the comments showing if they haven't paid the TTS, but if they paid a high amount for TTS, it shows automatically. Now the $10, $20, whatever doesn't show up on the screen unless, because I can do it right now. Let's bring up a comment. So I can click on my own comment and show it. Okay? I can show up other comments. They're mostly my comments, but yeah, you can show them and get rid of them like so. But most likely, Brian has no control over people's what people comment. So you can't blame the host for what people comment. There are some disrespectful people, but this is the internet. Get over it.
Yeah. And I think we've been probably very, I don't know if charitable is the right word, but
Very charitable.
almost
Bent over backwards.
yeah, it's not like so okay, here's where we left off, right? Xerxes was can women be sexy?
Again, I think that's going to vary from person to person. I think that there's a lot of people in the scientific.
Notice she gets up and leaves a bunch of times.
Are women as a group oppressed in the USA? Your answer?
I think it's possible, but I really need to leave.
May I just at least, can you stay for
Before she does, she made the claim that someone offered to pay. Someone offered to pay.
It was interesting and fun,
Do you want to give a closing statement?
my closing statement is that I love to learn and to meet new people, and I wasn't putting my medical issue aside for money. I didn't know how long this was going to be. That was my fault. And stuff like that. So
Concussions.
it's like a brain.
TBI.
I'll just take the offer that.
Here it is. This is what I want. I showed it at the beginning. Here it is. Right. This is why.
But I highly doubt
Using
that.
emotional manipulation.
I wonder. So they're offering you.
They're offering me 50.
So if you stay for another 2 hours, what would that cost? Like $500?
No. My God, more.
On top.
Like probably double.
Double
500, so
the original. Okay, double the original. So I think we would need, in order, would you actually, if it was doubled?
If it was actually doubled, I would stay because again, I do have a problem. Like, so I could probably stay a little longer.
2 hours.
I would just have to
2 hours beyond. So we're talking 8:30.
Then I would need like triple. And stuff like that. So
Concussions.
it's like
ibuprofen.
Okay.
but I just don't think this is a good environment. So I think I'll just take the offer that the person has given me of the original amount, and I'm just going to head out. I think.
There it is, right there. She made the claim that the whatever podcast didn't pay her. She's out the money. And there's the evidence right there. Let's play it one more time.
I'll just take the offer that someone offered me. But I have had someone offer me, but I just don't think this is a good environment. So I think I'll just take the offer that the person has given me of the original amount, and I'm just going to head out, I think.
There it is. That right there, that's evidence that she agreed to take the offer from one of her own followers, her own subscribers, her own friend, family, whoever it may be, in order to avoid having to stay the whole time. So she is being paid the amount from her friend or follower, whatever, so she's not out the money. Had she stayed the entire time, she would have not only gotten what Brian offered her, but she signed a contract and agreed to it. So what's my closing argument? My closing argument on this whole situation is simply this. Don't be a part of a debate. Don't agree to be a part of a debate. Don't come on to a show that you agree to be there. Hold on. Catherine says, I think she means when both the husband and wife working outside of the home. No, he means child support is in help caring for the way. Understood. Unfortunately, Catherine, the comments didn't show up on the StreamYard comment section. Sorry. So with that being said, my closing argument is this. Don't show up to a podcast you have no idea about. Don't play victim when you're proven to be a liar. Don't play victim when you're proven that your claims have been proven to be false. You are not a victim. You are not a victim. You are not a victim. So, Brian on the Whatever podcast did not cause you to have Bell's palsy. You probably had it already. Don't blame them. You are not a victim. I think you need to be better. I think you need to do better. And I think that if you actually believe that you have a shot of suing the Whatever podcast or Andrew, for that matter, you're clearly mistaken because all the evidence is shown, and Brian shows it in all of his videos. He even shows a letter on his live stream that he sent you after you sent a demand letter for him to take down whatever, and he proved that your claims are false. So you're not out the money. You are not a victim. And I think you need to get your head straight because there's something clearly wrong if you truly believe that you're a victim. Everybody, I want to announce this. My channel is Dearden2007. I stand up for men's mental health matters. My wife passed away in 2007. The ribbon says, stop silencing men's voices. And men's mental health matters too. So, subscribe to me on YouTube. Click that like button. If you're watching this after the live, please help support my channel by simply liking the video and showing your support. That's the most that I ask of you to do is clicking that like button helps get YouTube to understand that you actually like my content. But I challenge you to go watch this full video on the side. Come back and comment your thoughts because we've got to analyze the fact that here. Sorry about that, everybody. My internet went haywire there for a minute. So, everybody, please click that like button, show your support. If you're watching this after I have ended the stream, please show your support by clicking that like button. I'm new to streaming. This is my first reaction in a while, and if you have any videos that you would like me to react to, please DM me or comment in or just send me a hello. But clicking that like button really helps show your support, and I would appreciate it. So thanks for watching. Even if it's not during the live, showing your support even after the stream helps. Just click that like button, share the video, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Click that bell so that you can be notified in any videos that I make in the future. Enjoy my out video.